It's a word that you hear all the time these days: climate change. And no matter your beliefs or stance on the topic, discussions are happening on it. That was the case in Atlanta recently, as the Georgia Climate Project hosted a conference. Everything from electric cars to water was discussed, including agriculture.
When you think about climate change in Georgia, there's a lot of issues there, but only a few really rise to the top. Our coasts, for sure. What happens with our energy, for sure. But agriculture and forestry are way at the top of that list because these are really important industries to the state. And we know that these are industries that are really sensitive to changes in climate and weather, and we've seen that in small and really large ways over the past couple years and over the past decade. So it's really important for ag to have a seat at the table, not only a seat at the table, but a voice leading the conversation to talk about what this means for Georgia's really big industries and what we can do about it.
One of those voices is Casey Cox, a farmer down in southwest Georgia that is a huge advocate for the ag industry and was happy to speak at the conference.
One of my concerns is we're hearing a lot about this topic all over the country, and there's a lot of ideas that people have when it comes to agriculture and forestry and how that interplays with climate and the solutions, and very rarely are farmers actually at the table in those conversations. And so when I had this opportunity, I felt like it was really important to bring the voice of a farmer to this group of people.
There are several misconceptions due in large part because of separation from the ag world. But Casey made a point to make sure that people understand that farmers and agriculture are at the forefront of climate change, which comes in the form of efficiency and conservation.
On our farm and really across most farms in South Georgia, we've had the opportunity to implement new practices, new technologies, and new varieties of the crops that we grow that help us produce more with less. And that is really a huge part of the solution. And so much has changed even from my dad's generation to my generation with what's available. And I really feel like in the future, we're only going to have more options and more efficiency, and we really are looking for those practices that not only increase our conservation value but also increase our efficiency, because that has a direct impact on our bottom line. So if we can find those practices that do both, that's really a win-win situation for farmers, and we know that, and that's why farmers have chosen to implement so many best management practices and conservation practices and new technologies, because it's beneficial all around.
One of the biggest things Casey wanted to get across at the conference was the importance of rural Georgia and the ag industry, and how important they are when it comes to discussing climate change.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% of people live in rural populations, so that covers about 97% of our country's landmass, and the majority of our food production and our energy production across the country is in rural communities. And so we're really a huge part of this, and we're living this day to day, and so we absolutely have to be part of the conversation. We are part of the solution. I firmly believe that.
Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.